I was adopted as a very young baby, but now as an adult look back on and realise that there was probably something about being given away that affected the rest of my life. Growing up, I always believed that God existed. What I did struggle with was believing that God accepted me. I just looked for acceptance wherever I could find it, and often that was in relationships with girls, and I made a real mess of it all, and I was really fearful that the few relationships I did have with my parents, for example, were just going to be broken and lost forever. I was at university and I contacted my parents to explain to them how I was feeling, and just said, I totally understand if the way that I've lived my life and the mistakes that I've made and the mess I've made of it means that you can't accept me anymore as well. And what happened was I lived in a halls of residence, basically about 25 of us all in a single building with a stairway that joined all the rooms together. And after my parents had received that message, my dad phoned the phone I had in my room, and I didn't answer it because I knew it was probably him. Anyway, 5 minutes later, my roommate's phone rang, and he answered it, had a brief conversation with him, then came and told me that my dad had spoken to him and had asked him to tell me to phone home. And I ignored that request because I was just really afraid that they were going to reject me. Because we were in a block, basically the phone number was the same for every room apart from the last 2 digits. Over the next hour or so, my dad called every person in that block. Eventually 25 people were stood outside my room saying, "You've got to ring home, your dad clearly really wants to speak to you." So I phoned home full of fear and worry, anticipating rejection, and what my dad said to me was life-changing, because he said, "John, what you've done has hurt us and it's disappointed us, and we wish you hadn't made some of the choices that you have made, but we will never stop loving you as our son." That will never change. And in that moment, I didn't just hear my own dad speaking, but I heard God speaking those same words over me. That no matter what I did, no matter how many mistakes I made, no matter how worthless I felt I might be, how unacceptable I might feel to him, he would always love me and always accept me, and that would never change. That passage, it speaks very personally to me as someone who is adopted. Although I carried that sense for a long time in my subconscious that I'd been given away and rejected, there was a stronger sense that I'd been received and accepted. The love that my parents, who adopted me into their family, showed me was the greatest love I could ever experience. And so when I know that that's what God has done for me too, that just changes everything. It's kind of like, wow, God chose me. He saw me and all that I was going to do and be, and he said, I want John to be my son. I want to bring him into my family. And that's the offer that God makes to everybody, is you can be part of his family. You can be brought in and he chooses you. The bit at the start of that verse talks about at the right time. And I feel like God knows the perfect time. And right now might be the perfect time for you, when he's going to say to you, this is how much I love you and I want to bring you into my family. Will you accept that invitation?